Hi there, it's Jingjing. I hope you're doing very well and feeling lighter and lighter in your heart. You know, this just makes me think of what I told a friend recently when I was inspired to summarize what I truly do. My mission and my highest joy in simple and easy to understand terms is to support as many people as possible to live truly happy lives. What in the world does truly happy mean anyway? If you think about it, the process of defining and interpreting it is a huge part of this truly happy life, because we can't be truly deeply happy without knowing what it means to us, right? So when you decide that living a truly happy life is so important to you, that you seriously get on the journey to understand and master life, you'll come to know for a fact that being truly happy is completely an internal work. And magically, in fact, by law of the physics, the external is always a reflection in response to our internal, just like a mirror image. So instead of being happy or unhappy because of the outside, you will come to learn the right order. That is, happiness inside first, happy outside must follow suit. Today's video is one of those most relevant topics in terms of addressing internal happiness, and it truthfully is a core issue for the larger humanity. That issue is negative self-talk, whether it's our inner critic that always nags about ourselves being not good enough, not capable enough, not beautiful enough, not strong enough, people don't like me, or the mind chatter that always tells you to guard yourself against other people and the world at large, or to be cautious of what could go wrong. These inner self-talks invariably accomplish one thing as a trademark. They make us feel bad in the gut. I'm actually going to give you something quite huge here for you to contemplate and take in. Here it is. Any thought you have that makes you feel bad or not good is always the opposite of truth. That gut feeling is the surest sign to tell you, no, it's not true. Because if it is true to your core, to your soul knowing, you will be in complete harmony with that thought or idea, and you wouldn't feel that feeling of contradiction. Instead, you will feel good about it. Do you see? It's simple yet infinitely profound and definitely worth remembering for the rest of our life. Now on to the core of the issue here. What can we do about those negative self-talks? Meaning all that's going on inside our mind that makes us feel not good. The first step is indeed what we just talked of. You recognize whatever that thought or idea is not true to your core. For example, the thought of I am not capable enough compared with others always inevitably give us that pit in the stomach feeling. Then you instantly know, no, it's not true, because you don't feel good thinking this thought. Now let's even move on further. As an example, why this thought is not true? Because in your core, your heart, your soul, your essence knows you are more than enough. In fact, there's no such a thing as enough. The term enough is a human programming we bought into, and without knowing it, we measure ourselves up to some self-created invisible criteria, which is pointless except making us feeling less than, feeling inferior, and feeling awful. And this applies to all kinds of not enough inner critic talks pointed at ourselves. Social conditioning is at the root of this issue. We bought into what the outside world tells us to live up to, and the result is lots of inner suffering, while in truth, it's always been about our internal first and foremost. But few of us are being offered this kind of guidance growing up, or rather have the choice of not being diverted away from this inner knowing. The second step, recognize this thought or idea is your inner child expressing him or herself. You see, as we just talked of, those programming and conditioning was fed straight to our inner child as we grow up. And as a child, we're so open and receptive that we absorb everything just like a sponge in the water. If we were given wonderful guidance for us to always remember our inner knowing instead of listening to the world on the outside, which includes comparison, competition, shortage, worry and fear, need to prove our value in order to be loved or to get anything, so on and so forth, then our inner child will grow up as we physically appear to, remembering the inner knowing that we are unconditionally loved, not only by the family, but most importantly by our soul. We would feel empowered and treasured, centered, confident, loving. But the reality is, as we appear to grow up physically and even intellectually, mentally and emotionally, our inner child didn't properly grow up. He's been told all these concepts, beliefs that keep him in fear, in shortage, in competition, in inferiority, sometimes even being traumatized by certain events, leaving the inner child feeling unsafe, unloved. That's why we have those kinds of thoughts and ideas in our mind haunting us. The reason they are there, hear this carefully, my dear friend, is because our inner child is calling for love and healing. That takes us to the third step. See your inner child in that corner who is feeling fearful, not enough, etc. And hold him in your arms. Shower unconditional love over him. That's a traumatized child inside, crying for our attention, so that we can finally see his need for healing by going through this process and love him back to his natural state of wonder, love, joy, just like a pure child. This is the most healing thing you can do for yourself, period, whether guided by someone else or on your own. Because in truth, the way we operate ourselves as an quote-unquote adult in the world is always shadowed by that hurt inner child. And that's why we don't trust people. That's why we think we're not good enough. That's why we try so hard to prove our value. That's also why we so blindly look for love from someone else. All because unknowingly our inner child is crying out all of his hurts, his fear, his lack of love, his inferiority, his powerlessness through our thoughts. And then our actions spring from our thoughts to create external reality. Can you see? But now you know the full story and you understand. All in all, this is the journey of healing that inner child by loving him or her profusely and unconditionally. In fact, the journey to a truly happy life is a journey of learning self-love, which I will talk about in detail in one of our next videos. As you follow through this 3-step process, every time you catch negative self-talk, you will heal your inner child so powerfully, and very soon you'll be radiantly happy, empowered, centered, confident, secure, loving, compassionate, fearless, like a child, and your external world must follow suit as a beautiful reflection. And here's a tremendous catch worth elaborating. When you heal that inner child, you won't judge others anymore, because all the judgments we point at others are only projecting our self-judgment. That means when we stopped saying that we are not good enough, we would see others as inherently good and wondrous human beings sharing this journey with us. Before we end today's video, I do want to point out something very important. When talking about social programming and not receiving guidance, I in no way mean to blame parents or the society at large. Instead, it was meant to shed light on how everything come to be the way it is, because society is but a collective of individuals, including our parents, and everyone has that traumatized inner child. So parents, for example, are doing the very best they can at the consciousness level they are at. It means at times repeating that hurtful pattern onto the next generation without knowing it. So there's even no forgiveness to mention, because there's nothing to condemn. Instead, let's go straight to compassion. Have compassion for parents, for teachers, for society at large. We're all doing the very best we can with that hurt inner child hidden in the corner. The blessing is, this is the time we're coming to heal ourselves and heal that inner child collectively. That's something truly worth celebrating, dear friend. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time.